And now I have the pleasure to announce our senior student inspirational speaker, voted for by the senior class. Here are some thoughts that some of you shared about this person. And I've got a sheet of probably 50 different people that had said something about this person, and kindness comes up over and over and over. This student represents the positivity and care that Judge Memorial has to offer. He is the kindest and sweetest person I have ever met. This person is the epitome of loving kindness. He constantly inspires me to be a better person and to love others and myself. He is a great person and the kindest one I have ever met. He always has a smile on his face and looks out for all of us. He is a light in all of our lives, and he inspires me with his positivity and care for others. I'm pleased to invite to the stage the student inspirational speaker for the class of 2019, Joseph Izampuye.
Hi everyone. Before I start, I just wanted to thank a couple of people. I wanted to thank my friend Zach Thomas. He actually co-wrote this speech with me, so I think he might be here. But anyways, yeah, thank you. And just to my class, you guys all inspire me. You've literally given me a voice here, so I appreciate it. Thank you. High school is the 4-year-long process responsible for taking young, reckless teenagers and turning them into young adults. High school is the first step in preparing us for the world, pushing us outside of our comfort zones. For me, the process began as soon as I walked through the Judge Memorial doors during orientation. And even though I've forgotten most of what was said during the first assembly, I may have forgotten the face of the first person to show me around, but I will never forget the distinctly huge and welcoming impressions this new community left on me. The most memorable student leaders during the retreat were actually the cheerleaders. They stood out, officially beginning the orientation by coming on stage and falling into routine. They started performing this spiralingly complex cheer choreography while singing the Spirit song. Now, every high school senior has one horror story, right? One memory that never seems to fade. Eventually, and this was probably my high school horror story moment, the most unusual moment of the assembly came when the cheerleaders stepped off the stage and went into the audience. Now, I was lucky. I had planned ahead of time and sat in between a couple of people, so it would have been impossible for the cheerleaders to reach me. They had forced a couple of unlucky students on stage to perform with them. It was like seeing some of the faculty on stage during the Christmas assembly when they don't know the words to the song. But it was with freshmen. So it was way worse. All of the freshmen on stage had this frozen look on their face. They were terrified of performing in front of a large audience and making a bad first impression. And of course, the cheerleaders at the time knew that they couldn't perform. They knew that we would be too afraid to perform, to let loose, and to take life a little less seriously. But it wasn't about that. It was about being vulnerable and taking that step that lets you become the person you aspire to be. Looking back on it, life is a leap of faith. These fearless cheerleaders emulated culture at Judge Memorial. They showed us what it meant to be a leader, defining it by contrast, leading us by example, and showing us that our ability to take leaps and learn is the most important quality that a leader can have. For next year's sophomores, juniors, and especially next year's seniors, your actions define the legacy you leave behind, leaving an impact on the future. Please keep in mind your capacity to inspire and to lead others is infinite. There are no limits to what you can achieve. As seniors, we've seen that life is a test of time. It is the ability to overcome hardships and to move on, to gradually progress from point A to point B, to the end goal, to graduate. For our class, I sincerely believe that through our 4-year journey, that our legacy has left an impact. I believe that we have left the school a better place than we found it, and most importantly, we've been able to grow and express ourselves through the rocky journey. We have experienced time start to speed up as we've evolved. We find that there aren't enough hours in the day anymore. We have stood on stage and accepted our roles as leaders. We have followed in the many footsteps of those who came before us, from tiny freshmen to peer ministers, student council members, and cheerleaders. We've had great times performing with our friends and by our mentors' sides. We've defined ourselves by contrast. Life is a leap of faith, a series of long jumps which take us from point A to point B, from one year to the next. It is the process which prepares us to put ourselves out there as a part of the world. In a world that is constantly changing, we must understand that it is okay to fail. We must understand that when we fail hard. Failure is inevitable if you want to achieve success. During junior pin, Mr. Galvez, last year's inspirational speaker, left us with some wise words. Although we build a culture of excellence around ourselves, we will sometimes fall short of it, he said. He said that at some point in our lives we will fall, but what's important is that we fall forward. The story of those who failed doesn't get remembered. It's those individuals who persevere, who decide to get up. Those individuals get remembered in the history books. It is our responsibility to jump over hurdles, to climb hills, to push the boundaries, and to seek change. Barack Obama said that change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones the world has been waiting for. Together, we are truly unstoppable. Together, we have the power to change the world. We've been prepared for this moment our entire lives, and the time is now. Thank you.